I made a video about watching classic Doctor Who on an old CRT television, and that video did pretty well. So as a follow-up, I'm making a similar video about the magic that is watching Star Trek on a CRT television. And by Star Trek, I'm referring to the original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, and the older movies. Because in my world, that's all the Star Trek there is. There are some interesting differences in the source material involved between Doctor Who and Star Trek that make the CRT viewing recommendation a slightly different argument. For classic Doctor Who, it was largely shot on videotape, sometimes with 16mm film being used for location shots. The source video, as a result, isn't great. So an argument can be made that classic Doctor Who is best suited for an old CRT television, the only display type it was viewed on for some 26 years. It just doesn't look as good on a modern flat-screen television, despite what the Blu-ray boys will tell you. Whereas Star Trek the original series was shot on 35mm film with a budget of around $190,000 per episode, and for the late 1960s, that was a heck of a lot of money. So the production value of the show and the quality of the source video far exceeds what's available for classic Doctor Who. The TOS Blu-ray release is in full HD, 1080p, has 7.1 remastered audio, and offers updated special effects that are a great improvement, with an option to watch the original effects. All this means that Star Trek TOS looks really good on a modern flat-screen television. For Star Trek The Next Generation, we have the remastered Blu-rays as the definitive video source. For these Blu-rays, they essentially rebuilt each episode from the ground up. They started with a high-def rescan of the 35mm film, remastered the CGI effects, remastered the sound, and recomposited everything. The end result reflects the time and money they put into it. So just like TOS, Next Gen presents really well on a modern flat-screen television. So unlike the subpar video source for classic Doctor Who that doesn't lend to modern televisions, both Star Trek TOS and Next Gen offer an excellent presentation on modern televisions. Despite that, watching both TOS and Next Gen on a CRT television has a special kind of magic to it. A CRT has some crazy electron ray gun thing that shoots radiation onto a screen at a mind-blowing speed. And that screen has a special glow to it. I want to mention a comment made on my video about watching classic Doctor Who on a CRT television. Not all CRT televisions are the same. These televisions were manufactured for over 70 years, and there is a near endless variety of models made ranging from cheap to high-end. And the tech improved throughout the years, and there were plenty of budget models out there. Beyond the seemingly infinite variety of CRT models, time and age is also a factor. How many hours does a CRT already have on it? How much life is left in it? How well was it cared for over its life? Was it kept nice and clean in a climate-controlled, smoke-free home? Or was it in some guy's garage subjected to the heat and sun of the summer and the cold of the winter? Okay, back to Star Trek. Watching Trek on a CRT brings it back to how we watched it back in the day. This is how the original old-school fans grew up watching Trek. So there's a nostalgic element to it as well. But beyond that nostalgia is that magical glow of a CRT television, the analog experience of it all. It really is a unique experience that cannot be achieved without one of these old TV sets. I think this hits even harder with Next Gen. There's just something really special about Next Gen on a CRT. Now, setting aside the original series and Next Gen, which both present really well on modern flat screens, when we look at Deep Space Nine and Voyager, neither of these shows exist in high def, and neither have a Blu-ray release. They only exist in their original non-HD format. Remastering Next Gen came with a reported $12 to $20 million price tag, and their release coincided with a decline in interest in physical media, resulting in difficulty recouping on that investment. And with the world having embraced streaming as it has, the expense of remastering DS9 and Voyager just doesn't make financial sense. If people still bought physical media en masse, then it's very likely we'd have a Blu-ray release for both of these shows. So really, streaming is to blame for these shows being stuck at DVD quality. Nonetheless, both DS9 and Voyager still present fairly well on a modern flat screen. But there can be more of an argument made for DS9 and Voyager that the magic of a CRT is a worthwhile viewing experience. As I mentioned in my classic Doctor Who video on CRTs, another thing that I really like about this old tech is that in a world where everything is connected to the internet and our activity is constantly being watched, recorded, and our data sold off, and we're relentlessly bombarded by ads, and our TVs need to have software updates applied, these old sets are disconnected. Nobody is tracking me. There's no software updates. There's no ads. Well, other than the ads that play at the start of a DVD. And I think that's a better world. While I was editing this video, it dawned on me that I really needed to mention Star Trek, the animated series. It's easy to dismiss this chapter of the franchise as a cheap cash grab, and the animation can be so bare bones that, at times, it barely qualifies as animated. But despite the budget constraints, most of the original cast returned to voice their characters, and the scripts weren't watered down for kids. In fact, they often skew more adult than you'd expect. The result is a surprisingly enjoyable and often overlooked corner of the Star Trek universe. And on a CRT television, it absolutely shines. Older cartoons tend to look their best on older televisions, and this series is no exception. It's yet another reminder of why Star Trek pairs so beautifully with vintage displays. Alright, all you Trekkies out there watching on a CRT television, make yourself heard in the comment section. Represent yourself. Tell me about your experiences. As always, thanks for watching, and if you could do me a solid and like this video and subscribe to the channel, it would really help me out. Until next time.